Hello and welcome back to the Slaughter, everybody. Welcome back to Killing Floor 3, where today we're going to be taking an overview of the Engineer class, a brand new class to Killing Floor 3, just a brand new class overall. This is basically the class that kind of replaced Support and Demo into sort of one class overall. Engineer starts out with this, the Context CSG. This is a shotgun that does 550 damage. That's if all the pellets hit. This holds 14 rounds in it and has 98 extra, which is pretty good. This one is a pump action shotgun, and it is fairly accurate at longer ranges, which is good. Shotguns still kind of keep their good spread. It's got pretty interesting, can't really call them iron sights, but pretty interesting sight there. This one's not bad. I found it to be pretty decent. Their secondary is called the Kryet, which is basically a P90. It's a fully automatic pistol that does fairly low damage, but holds a lot of bullets. I know of one pistol like this in real life that's similar to like the KSG, which I'm pretty sure is what the shotgun is named after. So it's another Kel-Tec gun, which I guess kind of makes sense. It's actually kind of a cool little submachine gun. This one can either be 3-round burst or it can be full auto, whichever one you would like. The pump action shotgun is only single shot. You can't change anything else about it. It has no secondary fire. So pretty standard there. Your ultimate or gadget or whatever the heck they're calling it in this game is like sonic guns that you pull out and deal damage. We'll see that in a little bit when we go over the skills of this weapon. And then for your other starting equipment, you've got bouncing Betty grenades, which you throw out, they jump into the air, and they explode. They aren't super consistent, but there is a lot of upgrades to make them seemingly more consistent. So that's kind of cool. And then your starting gadget is called the multi-tool, which I can't actually pull out here in the training, but we should have some footage up on screen. This is to activate things like turrets, zip lines, doors, repair door locks, and a couple other things that they can do. So pretty useful tool and really good for getting a lot of value in the early game. You might want to swap it off for something else as the game goes longer. Your tier 2 weapon that's available right now is called the Bone Breaker. This is another shotgun, and this one is either a semi-automatic or a fully automatic shotgun. This is as fast as it can shoot in full auto though. Holds 12 rounds, does good damage. This one does less damage than the pump action by a little bit, but you do have more rounds overall and you can shoot it out quicker. It has more overall ammo, less ammo in the magazine, but can be pretty strong. The shotguns are okay in this one, I found so far. They don't feel quite as strong as they are in Killing Floor 2, but maybe that's because we have so many other shotguns to pick from in that. Your tier 3 option is the grenade launcher called the G33, and this one is exactly what you think it would be. So it's just a grenade launcher, holds 6 shots. You can change the ammos in this and all the ammos of all the weapons, but you can make this into like cryo nades, you can make it into more high explosive nades, you can make this have like an 8-shot cylinder rather than a 6-shot cylinder. It feels very similar to the grenade launcher in Killing Floor 2 that was a tier 5 weapon in that. It has the primary fire of just lobbing out the grenades. Its secondary fire is more like a proxy nade, where if enemies walk near it, it will go off. Otherwise, it has a timer on it, which will go off eventually. So you kind of see it's not too good against targets, since it can't knock them down, and it doesn't trigger on them, but it will work that way on Zeds. Then our tier 4 weapon is called the Ifrit. This one has a primary damage of heat and a secondary damage of electricity, which is pretty interesting. This one can also be swapped around depending on what ammos you're using in it as well. So primary fire is just a laser beam. As you can see, it's not entirely center, but this will deal damage to anything that you hit, and then just takes down your fuel that way. If you swap it to the secondary fire, it gives you ranged attacks that are electricity that you can actually shoot fairly quick. They do have travel time, as you can see, though, so you will need to lead your shots a little bit, but it's fairly strong overall. And Engineer's weapons are kind of interesting. I don't know why they gave them all of these weapons, but they are different, I will give them that. And then for skills for Engineer, we're just going to go through these. So first up, you got passives of Repairman. Using your tools gives you more armor back. This depends on how many uses the tool has. This can give you up to 20 armor, at least with this level. That will increase the more you level it up. So if you have something like the ammo bag that just has one use, you'll probably get all of your armor back immediately. Whereas like the multi-tool has multiple uses, so you won't get all of your armor back right away. That could be pretty good. And then we've got Tool Up. Killing enemies gives you Tool Up stacks, and then once you reach 90 stacks, it consumes them all and refills 1 tool ammo. So you can just keep getting your tools back. You can use more of your multi-tools, or you can use like ammo bags, syringe bags, things like that. That one's probably going to be pretty nice. At level 8, you got Hole Punch. Weapon penetration is increased. Makes sense. That's similar to what Support had, so that one could be good. We got Major Damage. Increase the amount of damage and stumble of anything that you hit. Stumble just knocks things away, as you would kind of expect. That one sounds pretty good. First contact, deal more damage with the first bullet that you hit an enemy with, or at least the first time you're damaging that enemy. I imagine that doesn't mean that it's the first time the enemy is damaged, it's the first time you're damaging it. So that one could be pretty good too, especially if they add anything like the Doom Stick in this, where you got like 4 shots from a big shotgun. At level 14, you got Bleed for Speed. Killing enemies increases your movement speed. That one sounds super nice for a quality of life bonus. Then you got Man of Steel, increases your total amount of armor, which is really good, as well as it makes it so things can't grab you anymore, similar to what SWAT had in Killing Floor 2, or Berserker had the same ability. Then you got the Scatter Plot. Scatter Plot makes it so you get increased pellets, as well as your shotgun has increased spread. I don't know if I'd really like that. Usually I like having less spread overall, but more pellets gets you more damage, so it might be kind of nice. Then we got Full Blast, bigger explosion radius and less self-damage from explosive weapons. That one will probably be pretty useful, although the grenade launcher doesn't do too much damage to you right now. But if they add in other explosives, I imagine that could certainly help, especially if they add things like the Seal Squeal like they had in Killing Floor 2. Then at level 26, we've got the Rally Beacon. Killing an enemy grants you a stack of Rally. Once you get up to 24 stacks of Rally, this one will go down the more you level it up. You consume all the stacks, and then it makes it so everybody deals more damage that's next to you, including yourself. So that's pretty good. Then you've got Inner Rage. Taking damage increases weapon damage and bash damage for 5 seconds. Could be fun. Could make it so you could offset the amount of damage that you're taking with more damage to the enemies. Then we've got Chain Reaction. Killing an enemy makes it so they can explode. This is very similar to like Zedsplosion from Killing Floor 2, which was a pretty good skill too. And then for our throwable slot, we've got Chaos Theory. This one makes it so your fragments can punch through more enemies than they otherwise would. From your Bouncy Betty Grenade. You got Proxy Mine, longer trigger on it unless enemies step near it. And then you also got Grounded, which makes it so they just have a knockback status effect, so you're more likely to knock enemies down, which is pretty good. The Tier 2 and Tier 4 here, or I guess the level 10 and level 22 are always the same with the grenades, which is just you get +1 more, really good for every class. At 16, we got Dismember the Day, increases the amount of fragments even further, so that could be pretty good. Or Super Shredder, makes it so the explosive damage is increased from the explosion, or from those fragments. So you can potentially do more damage to single targets this way, or you could potentially have more fragments to hit more enemies, or hit the same enemy multiple times. Both those sound pretty good. And then at level 28, you got Heat Exchange, which makes it so this deals heat damage instead of ballistic damage, and your fragment damage is increased even further. Sounds pretty nice. We've got the Scrap Heap. Blowing up the Bouncing Betty leaves behind scrap. You can go pick it up and get another Bouncing Betty, which is pretty good. I don't know how often you could chain this together. It's probably just going to be for small enemies, but it might save you a lot of ammo overall and maybe a lot of dosh because of that. Then we have the second time around, Bouncing Betty launches fragment components, and after a short delay it explodes again with reduced damage. So 2 explosions on each grenade also sounds pretty good. I'm not sure which of these sounds the best to me. Kind of just like either heat damage for more damage, or just another Bouncing Betty sounds pretty good. Then we got our Gadget, which is our sonic gun that deals damage and has a high chance of stunning enemies. You get so many shots of this. It's also called Bunkered whenever you use it. This makes it so you move slower, but you do more damage. Then we've got another one here where you just get more movement speed whenever you use your ult, and this is kind of what your ult looks like, so that's kind of cool. Then you got Fortify, restore armor when you use your ult, which sounds pretty good. Making you tankier is always going to be good in these games. At level 12, we got Wall of Sound. Soundwave projectiles increased by 35%. You can hit more enemies with it. Or we got High Frequency, which makes it so you do less damage and you have less size, but you have an increased rate of fire and you get more ammo for it, so you can spam it out more. And then we got Bone Conductor. Soundwave penetrates more enemies, similar to what we had with the shotguns, just more penetration power. Then we've got Clear the Area. Whenever you equip this, it deals damage to everything around you. This just gives you a bigger AoE to hit things, so you can keep more things off of you when you use it. Or you got Juggernaut. Whenever you use your ult, then you just get tankier overall. Then we got Reforge. This is basically use your tool and you get more ult back, so you can use it more often. Sounds pretty good. Then we got Sonic Salvo. Increases the overall amount of ammo and your duration from those shots, so you can just spam it out more often. Could be really good if you like the ult. And then for the level 30s, we've got Take Charge. This one makes it so you can either fire it in semi-automatic or charge fire to do more damage. Seems kind of fun. I don't know how great that one's going to be. Then we've got State of Confusion. This makes it so all your waves can confuse enemies instead of just damaging them as well. And Confusion makes it so other enemies will attack one another, which could be good. And then we've got the Reverb Pedal, which just makes it so it deals AoE damage whenever you shoot the shot. So you can do even more damage to everything around you. Engineers are pretty straightforward. I don't know how much I'm going to be playing Engineer because I thought they were okay overall. I kind of want them to have a few different weapons though. Their weapons weren't my favorite out of these. Secondary was pretty good, and like the shotguns are pretty fun. The grenade launcher's pretty decent too. The wave gun is a little bit weird to me though. Anyway, tell me your thoughts on Engineer and its overall perks. Thank you guys so very much for watching this. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.